So I'd like to introduce the formidable chairman of the East Surrey UKIP, Cllr Helena Windsor.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Are you feeling purple? And to be wonderful, thank you. It's much better than looking at me big. Right, this is part of the Surrey Hills, which is an area of outstanding natural beauty, and I've chosen it because when I grew up in Beckenham, in the sprawl of suburban roads outside London, the outskirts of London, that were built in the 1930s. And when I moved out of the suburban sprawl, this is where I came to. This is actually taken from Taxfield, and that's where I first moved to when I first popped over the border from Kent into Surrey. And this is about as close as you can get in Surrey to where Nigel lives. So, the Metropolitan Greenbelt was the first area of protected open land. Now, there are greenbelts around other cities in the UK, but London led the field, and that dates back to 1938. So, what is the Greenbelt? This is the Greenbelt, the Metropolitan Greenbelt that surrounds London. I think, this is why I've put this up on the screen for you, because I think you need to see it. And you can see that it covers great swathes of eastern and southeast region. And it was there to stop the suburban sprawl from reaching right down to our southeast coast here. London stretching right down to Eastbourne and stretching across to Clacton and Frinton-on-Sea in Essex. And you can see that you've got Buckinghamshire, you've got lots of Surrey, and you've got Kent. So let's have a look. Now, I'm not going to apologise for focusing on the southeast. I've put the southeast up here just to show you just what quantity of the southeast area is covered by Greenbelt, because there's obviously some London boroughs as well that have Greenbelt, particularly on the outskirts. And you see that topping the field is Sevenoaks in Kent with 34,000 hectares. And then there's a lot in Surrey. I represent one of the divisions in Tambridge, and we've got 23,300. Guildford tops the Surrey League. And I'm going to focus now on Surrey because I'm a Surrey County Councillor, and actually I'm proud of Surrey's history with respect to the Greenbelt. If you want to talk about what effect HS2 is going to have in Buckinghamshire, I'm sure Chris Adams will be delighted to enlighten you. So Surrey County Council actually considers that it can claim to be the creator of our Greenbelt because it had the countryside estate formed in 1931, from which they consider was the basis of the London Greenbelt, and as I said, was 1938. So, at a council meeting on the 19th of March 2013, this was the last council meeting before I was elected, they actually resolved to protect the Greenbelt. Now, this motion was brought by Councillor Ian Beardsmore. He's a Lib Dem. Now, please don't hold that against him. There's a few good eggs in that basket, and this guy, I think he does understand the meaning of the two words in their party name, Liberal and Democrat. Funny how most of them don't seem to know what that means, do they? Either word. And he put a motion forward. It was diluted a little bit. He suggested that the council should oppose any government move to weaken Greenbelt legislation. The Tories, and bear in mind there are 58 of them to 23 of the rest of us, we don't be able to get many of our motions through. They amended that to say that they should stick within the national planning policy framework. Not sure that that really gives the adequate protection to Greenbelt, but he decided to go with it, and it was a unanimous verdict. They respected the county history, and you'll see there that it says they were going to make the district and borough councillors aware of this decision. Now, there's a good reason for this. They will do everything in their power. Power. What power do I have in Surrey County Council? Well, we have to do a lot of infrastructure mopping up. There's an awful lot of schools, new schools building and school extensions going through at the moment, just to try and keep up with the amount of extra housing that's been being built in the various boroughs and districts. But when it comes to power, I think the pit bull in purple is muzzled. I can growl a lot, and believe me, I will growl and I'll keep growling on my residents' behalf. But I'm muzzled. A lot of it comes down to the district and boroughs and their decisions and the pressure that's put on them. So they're under tremendous pressure from the government. They're also under tremendous pressure from the developers. Now here's one little glitch. If you build on brownfield land, if you do a conversion, guess what? You pay 20% VAT. If you go and dig up a nice farmer's field, and of course the farmer, struggling as he does, often through EU legislation, he's going to get some money for this. This is great. No VAT. It's a no-brainer, isn't it? So they're under pressure. And if I just, as I said, I'm going to be fairly Surrey-centric here. Just focus a little. Guildford. We said we had the greatest area of greenbelt. Wisley Airfield, there's a proposition to build something like 2,500 homes there. And then obviously a commercial area, and then you'll need the infrastructure on top of that. And that's all in greenbelt area. It's no surprise that we've got a problem in Tandridge. Now I'm going to put a little advert out here. Any of you who live in the area, starting from the 17th to the 20th, we've got an inquiry. This is from the developers. Because Tandridge had its local plan. It had, in agreement, the number of houses that it was supposed to build. It's actually exceeding them. It had it all organised that they didn't have to build on greenbelt or threaten greenbelt. But no, last year we had the Hearn report, which is basically a developer's charter. And there was a lot of argument in the council meeting, which I went to on behalf of my residents in the public gallery, and they couldn't accept it. They had to agree to receive it. Interesting. But yes, Tandridge is under tremendous pressure. And then in Mole Valley, Greenbelt Boundary Review. They don't give it that name, but that's what it really means. And I know that in the whole of Mole Valley they're fighting. And it's not just housing. Having, they recently had this problem at Cherkley where they want to turn it into a golf course. It's an economic issue. Then we have the airport expansion, the runways. We have, in Surrey, we have both Heathrow up the northern end, and we've got Gatwick Airport. Now the latest plans, they're suggesting they up the number of jobs they think they'll create to 122,000. Now you think, great, job creation, this is wonderful. But actually, we haven't got that much of a shortage of jobs in the area. We're reasonably well placed. What that's going to mean is to fill those jobs, you're going to bring people in from outside. They need somewhere to live. They need hospital services, they need doctors, we need transport facilities, they need schools if they bring their families with them. Where in Sussex and Surrey are we going to put those homes? Now, let's talk about the districts and the councils. What's going to happen? What's the cause? Well, I'm going to have to mention the N word now, migration. When we've had, in the last few years, in spite of what the current government pledged, net migration running at or just under 200,000 a year, they've got to live somewhere. No, we can't send them back. But in the southeast, I would argue that's not the main driver. In some of these plans, in some of the boroughs and districts, they're talking about, they're planning for a 60% inward migration. They don't mean people coming from other EU countries, they don't even mean people coming from the rest of the world. They mean anywhere in the UK, and in particular London, because ordinary Londoners are being driven out by the sky-high prices there. And so they're coming out into the country areas and trying to live there and commute. And yet, ironically, a lot of commuters originally came for this, for the countryside. And the problem is that once it's gone, if we allow building on this, once it's gone forever. And this is what you've got in its place. So what can we in UKIP do about it? Well, as I said, the decisions on residential planning, they're agreed at borough and district level. And what a wonderful talk Chris Wood gave. Didn't you enjoy that? Are you all ready to go out and win? Because that's what we've got to do next year. We've got to convert those second places. Now, second places are very nice. If you stood as a candidate, oh, they like it. You know, you come second, you've increased the percentage, you're getting there. but actually you don't have to do anything. But we need to win. So next year, this is what we need to do in the districts of boroughs. Paint it purple, everybody. Get out there and win. But it is not going to save the greenbelt. Even if we had UKIP-controlled councils, we're still going to be up against a lot of pressure. We've got to go further than that. This is where we need to go, ladies and gentlemen, because it's not just the migration, it's the general economy. It is so London-centric. Until we start to get government legislation, government carrots, which encourage businesses to go and set up and develop in the areas where you can pick up houses for £10,000 or £20,000 because nobody wants them, because there's no work there. They're depressed areas, they need the business, they need the regeneration. In the southeast, yes, of course we want to keep vibrant, but we don't need concrete jungle, and I think you'd agree with that. So there's only one thing to do. In 2015, we have to paint Westminster purple. So thank you very much.